Welcome everyone. Welcome to the December 2nd, 2024 Council meeting. Thank you for joining us for our 40th celebration. Could I have Councillor Donaldson to do the territorial acknowledgement, please?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. I want to acknowledge that we are in the traditional territory of the Coast Salish people, including our near neighbors, the Shiano First Nation and the South First Nation. Here in Metchosin, a place we live, work, and play.
Thank you. And we have no presentations, for the agenda approval. Do we have any additions to the agenda as it is? Councillor Gray.
Yes, I want to add a notice of motion. You could pick it up under other business.
Yep, we'll put that at number 13.
Thank you.
Everyone. With that, could I have a motion to approve the amended agenda? Moved by Councillor Gray, seconded by Councillor Donaldson. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. We have no presentations, but we do have time for public participation. If you wish to speak at public participation, you have 4 minutes. If you could state your name and your street. Everybody's welcome.
Since no one else is, I'll get up. Good evening, Kiara Kahawila, Perry Crossroad resident, and welcome to the 40th anniversary. Thank you to those who've come and to Council for hosting the event tonight. I speak tonight in reference to the November 21st Special Finance Committee minutes that are on your agenda to receive. During public participation, Nicole Shukin spoke highly and with great enthusiasm about Metchosin becoming a member of the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, or FCM. She cited the cost to join at about $3,000 and had the potential to save Metchosin millions of dollars. You were then given examples of projects and municipalities throughout Canada that had received assistance through the FCM grant programs. It certainly piqued my interest, and I headed to the FCM website. Clicking the link to funding opportunities brought me to the Green Municipal Fund, which states, "We've got you covered with the right type of project funding, from plans and studies to pilots, capital projects, and more. Grants are available for planning, studies, and pilot projects. Loans are available for capital projects, and most recipients receive an additional grant of up to 15% of their loan amount." Scrolling down, I found plenty of opportunities to spend taxpayers' dollars on studies and capital projects. Almost all of the significant grants were for studies, and when it came time to spend the big dollars on capital projects, access to borrowed funds is available. Keeping the parameters of FCM funding in mind, what I just spoke about, I feel that spending any funds towards becoming a member of FCM would be wasted and could be used better here in Metchosin. I know $3,000 doesn't sound like a lot, but 10 to 11 different $3,000 items equates to approximately 1% tax increase for your operating budget. Finding ways to be more efficient and prudent with taxpayers' dollars should be the focus, and not on something new and shiny like a new membership. However, should you feel that there is a significant benefit to joining FCM, please use restraint when it comes to increasing your travel and conference budgets. Being a member of FCM is all that is required to access a few dollars of grant funds and many dollars of loan funds. Traveling across Canada yearly to conferences is an unnecessary and frivolous expense that likely will not be well received by the taxpayers of Metchosin. Full disclosure, I was part of a council that opted to join FCM once. I was also part of the next council that opted out of FCM, as the cost did not outweigh the real or supposed benefits of membership. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to speak this evening? Okay, thank you. Let's turn now to the adoption of the minutes on page 3 of your council agenda. We have the November 25th, 2024 council meeting agenda minutes, rather.
Yeah, move to adopt.
Moved by Councillor Gray, seconded by Councillor F. Any comments? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. And then we have receipt of the minutes. Councillor Donaldson.
A motion to receive the Special Finance Committee budget meeting of November 21st, 2024.
This is moved by Councillor Donaldson, seconded by Councillor Shukin. Comments?
Just a quick comment. Thanks to Ms. Kahakawila for her comments about the potential of joining FCM. And yeah, before I would want to leap into something like that, I'd want to look closer at it. So yeah, thanks very much of getting into some of the subtleties around what funding could be used for. So, and yeah, great point about conferences as well. So, yeah.
Okay. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, moving right along to my mayor's report. We have a request, well, it's not really a request, we don't do proclamations here, but a note from Felix Townsend, a grade 9 student from Royal Bay Secondary, and he previously has reached out to all of the municipalities to support his A Million Acts of Love campaign. And this is from November 16th to December 16th. December 16th, it's designated as A Million Acts of Love month, during which people are encouraged to focus their efforts on spreading kindness and making a meaningful impact in their communities and beyond. So there's lots of information regarding that. We'll have staff send that out to you. It seems like a worthwhile yeah, actually, it's really a growing movement and campaign. So, okay, with that, and I just wanted to make a special welcome to everyone. We have past councillors here. Tonight we're celebrating the 40th anniversary of the District of Metchosin Incorporation. It seems that we were leaders in 1984 in incorporation, with the City of Colwood incorporating a year later in 1985, the City of Langford incorporating in 1992, Highlands in 1993, and the District of Souk in 1999. To add some perspective, historically around the world in 1984, there was a massive UK coal miners' strike. The supergroup Band-Aid was formed to raise funds for the anti-famine efforts in Ethiopia. The Prime Minister of India, Indira Gandhi, was assassinated. Ronald Reagan became the President of the USA in a landslide victory. Archbishop Desmond Tutu was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. The first Apple Macintosh computer was on sale for $2,500. Hockey Team Canada won in overtime over Russia. It's big news. Pierre Trudeau retired as Prime Minister, and Brian Mulroney led the Progressive Conservatives in a win over John Turner's Liberals. Bill Bennett, not WAC, but Bill Bennett was the Premier of British Columbia, and Herman Volk became the first mayor of Metchosin. The District of Metchosin has, for a large part, remained intact and rural and farming, although our population has grown to over 5,067 residents. From a regional perspective, Metchosin has been successful in articulating several significant functions. It contains much of the productive agricultural land in the Capital Regional District, which provides foods for local markets and food stands. Metchosin provides opportunities for rural living in large residential lots and hobby farms, and the unique and diverse natural environment with its strong marine orientation and numerous green spaces also provides significant regional recreation. Of course, Metchosin is the gateway to 4 regional parks. This council has recognized the need to plan for the future so that Metchosin stays livable, vibrant, and is sustainable. We have embarked on strategic planning with annual updates, and we now have an agricultural plan, a climate action plan, and we will soon evaluate an active transportation plan, a fire health feasibility study, an old school management plan, and an asset management plan. A few members of past councillors are able to attend this meeting, but Mr. Ted Stevens, who served as an alderman for the 1st District of Metchosin Council in 1984, sends his regrets that he's unable to attend this auspicious occasion. And he writes, ladies and gentlemen, I want to offer you my congratulations on your election to the next municipal council for the District of Metchosin. Moreover, I want to sincerely wish the District of Metchosin a very happy happy and successful 40th anniversary celebration. It's been a long haul. May you enjoy another 40 years of success. I regret that I'm not able to join you on this auspicious occasion. I have retired from my career as a professional forester, but I'm still working with a small sign company in Port Hardy. Very best wishes to all. Signed, Ted Stevens, Chairman of the Metchosin Incorporation Task Force, 1983 to 84, Alderman, Councillor, District of Metchosin, 1984 to 87, and alternate regional director for Metchosin Capital Regional District, 84 to 87. Okay, with that concludes my mayor's report. Let's move along to business arising on page 15. We previously heard about the wish for a province-wide ban on consumer fireworks. Here's an example 2025 resolution for your consideration for the province-wide ban of consumer fireworks. Let's see, Councillor Epp.
I do agree with this. I would like to propose an amendment.
Yep.
And also there was a phone call to the office from Lavinia Rojas who brought this to our attention recently, and she did want to add that it wasn't just the ban of use, that it would also ban possession. So that's something maybe the committee needs to discuss. My amendment would be to replace pets and farmed animals with domestic animals and livestock.
Okay. And livestock. And with that, do you want to move that? With that amendment?
Yes, and with that I'll move the resolution.
You want to read it out?
Okay, this is a province-wide ban on consumer fireworks. Whereas the use of consumer fireworks poses significant risks to public safety, property, and the environment. And whereas fireworks cause significant distress to people suffering with post-traumatic stress disorder, individuals with sensory sensitivities, domestic animals, livestock, and wildlife. And whereas many municipalities have already implemented local bans on fireworks, creating a patchwork of regulations across the province. Therefore, be it resolved that the provincial government implement a comprehensive province-wide ban on the sale and use of consumer fireworks, with exceptions for certified professionals conducting authorized displays.
Okay, this is moved by Councillor Epp, seconded by Councillor Donaldson. Discussion. Councillor Epp, do you have anything more to say?
No, I think it's a good idea. I was reading one note from the city of Vancouver. They installed that a couple of years ago, and just the notes that it's made quite a huge difference. This was according to the fire chief, made quite a huge difference in that city as far as the unauthorized use and the fires started by fireworks and all the other issues that brings up.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Go ahead.
I think it also it supports a lot of what we've been hearing from our own residents on a local level, especially this last year. There was quite an influx of reports of either animals missing or trauma to them, and then we did have one accident to an individual as well. So it's good to see that this is coming forth. We'll see where it can go with AVICC and hopefully the BCM.
Yeah, so as Councillor Donaldson said, this resolution will be submitted to the Association for the Vancouver Island Coastal Communities. The conference is in April, I think it's in Nanaimo, or is it Victoria? It's in Nanaimo. Okay, so at least one of us or two of us will be there to administer this or shepherd it along. Okay, anybody else? No? I'll call the question then. All in favor? That's unanimous. Thank you.
Marilyn, just
Yes.
one comment.
Mhm.
If there was an interest in bringing other resolutions to AVICC, the deadline is February 6th. I think we all know that. So we're looking ahead. There's a council meeting on the 6th, then committee of the whole on the 13th, and then another council meeting on the 28th. So just probably the committee of the whole meeting is where we might bring up another resolution.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so get your ideas for advocacy. Okay, that's great. Next we have reports. This is on page 17, and I'll ask Mr. Creek, our Chief Financial Officer, to come to the microphone. We've got a recommendation here for adoption of the reports. But go ahead, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Through the chair, staff are recommending to propose adopting the new finance procurement policy, rescinding the previous one, adopting a new employee overtime policy, and then amending a number of other policies, just a little bit of housekeeping that I've noticed while I've been here. The big ones, like the finance procurement policy, the previous one was about 2.5 pages. This one's a little more fulsome. Created a new scorecard for analyzing vendor applications through RFPs and RFQs, that type of thing. Keep it nice and short. The big one is the proposed employee overtime policy. I noticed that there were a number of banks that employees had gained over the last few years, decade, that were getting a little out of hand, creating a large liability for the district. So I'm just going to put a cap on that, or proposing to cap it at 3 weeks, and then anything after that, they would just be automatically paid out at their applicable rate. I had that reviewed by the union, and they were good with making a few adjustments, but any questions?
Okay, Councillor, any questions about any of the policies for Mr. Creek? Councillor Shugan.
So, through you, Mayor Little, Mr. Creek, you mentioned a scorecard on the procurement policy. I don't see it.
I don't think I actually included it in the printout, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I guess really.
Could you just describe it for us a little bit more?
Yeah, so it's based on the value of the contract,
Okay.
The social policy part of it, so whether they're local or not, whether they have any ESG policies in their own governance,
Okay.
Environmental protections, are they using the latest and greatest tools and equipment and materials that will provide the least impact on the environment, and then the greatest value to us, whether or not we can get a warranty for it to make sure that we can get replacements and parts. We've had a few issues in the past time that I've been here, where purchase something, can't find our parts just because we the cheapest one that we could find. So I'm just trying to prevent those types of things happening in the future.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay. I just have a question about what you had just mentioned, the overtime banking capped at 3 weeks. Is that similar to what other municipalities do within the QP union?
So it kind of varies depending on one. There isn't a blanket one for anybody. So there's ones where they actually pay it out at the end of every year. Other people do have 1 week or 2 weeks. I felt 3 weeks kind of fair on our end. It just gives the employees the little bit of cushion in case they end up having to take long-term disability or anything like that. We can get a few more weeks of pay rather than falling down to the long-term disability rate, which is fairly low compared to their actual wage.
Great. Any other? Councillor Gray.
Thank you. Through the chair, well, first of all, this is great, having all these updated. So through the chair, thanks so much for the work on this, Mr. Creek. I wondered, well, two things. One was, we talked earlier today, and I was interested, or caught my attention was the sustainability procurement. And I think that would just add to what's in the scorecard, correct? Yeah. So it says may, and I was asking, well, is it may or should it always look at sustainability? And Mr. Creek was explaining that it'll be in the scorecard, and if it's a small expenditure, well, maybe it's not as important, but large expenditure certainly would go through the filters.
Through the chair, correct. Yeah, and it's a big thing coming, especially from the province with the new climate action funding program. So we have to be able to track that. So if we're going to be going out to a vendor and one of them tracks their greenhouse gas emissions and the other one doesn't, like we'll lean heavily towards the one that does, because in order to continue to get the funding from the province, we have to show that we have reduced greenhouse gas emissions rather than just say, I don't know.
And then my question was, in terms of the liability that we're carrying, what would be the level of, like, the days that people are holding now in their accounts and their banks, and individually or overall?
Yeah, so overall, right now we've got a total liability of $100,000. Back in 2015, that was $15,000, and it was about 79% of that is held by 2 people. So some people have quite a bit banked up.
Thank you. And that shows the importance of getting on with the policy. And I like the idea of 3 weeks because of the cushion it provides our employees, which is important. Thank you.
Anybody else? Indeed, some of these policies were quite old. One of them was 1991, so we appreciate that you've gone through and updated everything for us.
Yeah, absolutely. It was one of the issues when I came in, because people were asking me questions about, well, what does the policy say? And then you look at it, you're like, ooh, it's been a while. So.
Councillor Shukin.
Mayor Little, I would move the recommendation. Do you want me to read it out?
Please.
Okay. So that council adopt the proposed finance procurement policy F100.14 and that council rescind financial procurement policy F100.26 and that council adopt the proposed employee overtime policy E100.10 and further that council consider the proposed amendments in track changes in this package to the following employee and finance policies: employee policy vacations E111, finance policy tax payment deadline F130, finance policy emergency expenditures F35, the expense policy F136, capital expenditures F140, and the automobile allowance F145. So moved.
Okay, this is moved by Councillor Shukin, seconded by Councillor Donaldson. Any more discussion, comments? Go ahead, Councillor.
Just thank you. We appreciate all the work on this. It's really good to get things sort of up in the modern era.
Thank you.
Okay, call the question. All in favor? That's unanimous. Thank you. Okay, moving on to correspondence for action. We have a report from the Greater Victoria Public Library. This is their 2025 budget and 5-year financial plan. And there is a recommendation there. You can see that the overall system-wide municipal contribution amounts to an increased request of 5.5%. Our share of this for the 2025 requisition based on converted assessment values and population of the municipality, and perhaps Councillor Johnson, you can talk about that, include a rental adjustment, and it's $334,090. So it's a big chunk of change. I'm sure hoping Metchosin residents use the library systems because we pay dearly for that. And about the population, how was that calculated on this? It's a bit different than we've seen before.
It is. It's the first time I've actually heard about it. So 5,295 is BC statistics, and that's what they're basing it on.
And that's 2023?
The most current.
The most current, okay.
Yeah. And also, as we've heard with the West Shore Recreation as well, which we're an owner of, its wages insurance also is increasing that, but Metchosin's assessments were much higher than many of the municipalities last year, so we're paying a little bit more than the others are as well.
Okay. Okay. Any other comments? Councillor Shukin.
Yeah, it's a big chunk of change, and I echo what you're saying about hopefully Metchosin residents are getting their money's worth. I'll just point out that we are the second lowest contributor, of course, based on population. Only lower is Highlands, and their requisition for 2025 will be 166,000. So it's all laid out here on page 62. So.
Councillor Gray.
Yeah, I might just mention that there's the issue of how much our residents use the library, but it's a fundamental institution for society in general. All that they provide to us, not just the books, but all of the resources there. So, and if our residents are going there, others are, and those will be the people who end up being our bus drivers and lawyers and doctors and everything else. So I'm keen to support the library, and I hope that the budget process there went well. Councillor Donaldson.
Yeah, it's a good point. At different phases of your life, you use the library more as a community gathering place. We certainly used it a lot when my child was young and through her academic years. And Councillor Donaldson.
Yeah, currently I'm working with the library and CERC actually to do some in-service programs here for our residents, not just for seniors, but for everyone. They have a lot of online stuff. They've got things called Hoopla and OneDrive, and a lot of stuff I don't understand, but so you don't always have to just put books on loan, you can actually download a lot of stuff. So learning how to do that, I would like to learn that. I mean, the library's 15, 20-minute drive, I guess, depending which day. But they do offer a lot of services. We've been talking around this table about, we had the heat dome a couple of years ago, that sort of thing. We now have air conditioning in this building as a place for cooling off. The library also offers that in all of their branches. So it is a bit of a quiet, respite place to go. In doing a tour about a year ago, I went to one where children right after school, they just went in and all gathered around. They're working on a jigsaw puzzle. Some of them were doing homework. There's a lot of different aspects to the library. Each library offers something a little bit different, but it was such a hub of activity at different times of day. It was lovely to watch. So yeah, a great investment, and hopefully people are using it. I do push it out on Facebook a little bit with different activities that they have that might be of interest, whether it's language or ID stuff, all sorts of things.
Okay, so the motion before us is that council approve the Greater Victoria Public Library 2025 budget and the 5-year financial plan. Would you like to move that?
Sure, I'd like to move that council approve the Greater Victoria Public Library 2025 budget and 5-year financial plan.
Moved by Councillor Donaldson, seconded by Councillor Shukin. Any other comments? Seeing none, call the question. All in favor? That's unanimous as well. Thank you. So we've got some correspondence for information. This is an advocacy letter from Mayor Zelek of the village of Nakusp to the province regarding notification of when there's unexpected closures of emergency departments in rural communities. They've been talking about this for quite a bit, and they would certainly like to have notification. They note that the province's Alert Ready program states that there should be notification when there's a threat to human life. The threat is immediate, and there are recommended actions that may save lives. So anyways, that's correspondence for your information. Anybody want to speak to this? Okay. With that, we've got no bylaws. Other business. Councillor Gray, you have noticed a motion?
Yes, we talked about subdivisions the other day at council, and we haven't had an orientation or briefing on the topic. So for our next meeting, when we meet, I'd like to put forward a motion that council direct the CAO to organize a seminar for council and staff on the subdivision process with our legal counsel. And I'm just hoping that, tonight we're celebrating our 40th anniversary, and I want this council to be fully informed so we do the best job possible. Looking forward to the future of maybe the next 40 years.
Okay, that's a notice of motion. It doesn't require a seconder, and that'll be on the January council meeting. Okay, with that, we'll turn to question period. We always have question period if it's before 9:30, which we've met tonight. Does anybody in the room have any questions?
Is this might be the fastest council meeting ever.
Yeah, it might be. 28 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. Not seeing anybody in the room. Please stay. We've got cake and goodies to celebrate. We've got lots of people in the room, so it'd be really great if we could all celebrate together. Okay. Take a motion to adjourn. Moved by Councillor Gray, seconded by Councillor F. All in favor. Opposed, carried. Thank you.